on était bien au pays, est-ce qu'on allait prendre la route de l'aventure? Amen, c'est le président. Un pauvre qui vote ou celui qui l'a rendu pauvre. Si on était bien au pays, est-ce qu'on allait prendre la route de l'étranger? Amen, c'est le président. À l'Assemblée, il y a un vieux. Vraiment. Au Sénat, il y a un vieux. Wonderful. À la présidence, il y a un vieux. Dans tout le gouvernement, il n'y a que des vieux. Des vieux, des vieux. Des jeunes prennent le chemin de la limite pour devenir des esclaves. Des jeunes prennent la route du désert pour entrer en Europe. À l'Assemblée, il y a un vieux. Sonia Touko. Au Sénat, il y a un vieux. À la présidence, il y a un vieillard. Dans tout le gouvernement, il n'y a que des vieux, des vieux, des vieux.
Greetings to the beautiful people of the Cameroon. Greetings to the beautiful people of La République du Cameroon and the beloved people of British Southern Cameroon. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a party political broadcast by myself, Maitre Mola Alex Ndive Lisinke, the leader of British Cameroon National Party. Ladies and gentlemen, when they say you are a sheep, what does that mean? It's people who behave as they are told to do. People who are not independent. Once more, ladies and gentlemen, this is a party political broadcast by myself, Maitre Mola Alex Ndive Lisinke, the leader of British Cameroon National Party. Ladies and gentlemen, the topic for this party political broadcast today is coalitions of the sheep. Coalition of the sheep. Sheeps are people who don't use their head. Mugu people them. Mumu people them. Ladies and gentlemen, in politics, I have an ideology. In British Cameroon National Party, we have an ideology. Our ideology is to use legal means to give equal status to the people of British Southern Cameroon. We use Article 65 of the Constitution of La République du Cameroon, the right to self-determination. We believe politics is an alternative to war. We are a government in waiting, and we talk and we give our alternative policies. Ladies and gentlemen, anyone, everyone is free to come and challenge, criticize, scrutinize our policies. I don't get annoyed. Ladies and gentlemen, that is politics. So today, I want to challenge those poodles, those puppets that the government of La République du Cameroon have selected them to challenge the invisible president of the Cameroons, President Paul Biya of La République du Cameroon. And if you ask my opinion, I will tell you they are sheep. They are trying to form coalition of the sheep. These people, since 1992, they cannot sit and create a credible political party that you convince the people on your economic policy or whatsoever. They think as an individual, most of them have never been elected in their life. They think if they come together, they are popular because I am personality cult. Ladies and gentlemen, British Cameroon National Party is more popular than all those so-called presidential candidates. And I will tell you why. I was in the Cameroons. I appear on TV. People call, they want to join my party. People call me every day. I walk the streets of the Cameroons, Douala, Yaoundé, every side. People stop me on the street. I know my party is very popular. But however, that's not the topic for today. These people, whom I should say, if you join all the presidential elections, say for 43 years of Mr. Biya, you join all them together, Mr. Biya will still win them. Because I am not saying, as things stands, they chop people the money, CPDM. They are the referee, they are the football player, you cannot win them. But if you look at 30 million people of the Cameroons, 30 million, do you think those people that they put them there as presidential hopeful, one of them, they have the charisma even to defeat Mr. Biya? These people think it's a beauty contest. It's not about beauty contest. If you take popular musicians in the world, musicians are more popular than politicians. It's a fact. Footballers are more popular than politicians. But in the UK or America or European countries, people distinguish a politician from a star, or film star, footballer, or whatsoever. It's different. They distinguish it. David Beckham is very popular in the United Kingdom. But if you put him there, he cannot be prime minister because people know the job of a prime minister is different from that of a footballer. A little bit of diversion. So today, because as I speak, I'll tell you, I made a party political broadcast yesterday about the hypocrisy of Bello Buba. YouTube wrote to me, they always send you a message. Mr. Lisinga, the leader of British Cameroon National Party, your video was okay. Why do people go and report my video? When I look at the people who make comments on my video, few of them, which I appreciate them, Maitre, Mola, your video is very educative. It's very informative. I don't preach evil on my video. So why do some of you report my video? YouTube is not Facebook. YouTube is not Facebook. Let me tell you people. Facebook, they will not check. If you complain, they can bring down your page. But YouTube, they go and watch the video. The last 7 videos that I've been making, YouTube always wrote to me, Mr. Lissinger, we have checked your video is okay. So why are you reporting it? The problem in the Cameroons is that people don't want to be scrutinized. People don't love the truth. I don't say anything, but I am a professional man in the United Kingdom, a lawyer. There are things I cannot say on social media. If I say certain things on social media, my professional body that regulates me, they will deal with me. So everything that I say, I know is within the remit of my professional body. We have a very thick book like this in my profession. They call Solicitor Professional Conduct. So I know what to say in public. I know what not to say. So why do you waste your time to report my YouTube page? Why? I don't just come and run my mouth in public. Everything that I say, I know is in accordance to the law, especially in the United Kingdom where I live. So why are you wasting your time? Do you hate the face? Do you hate this monster face when I talk? Some of you. Are you afraid of this monster? Am I a monster? If you want the Cameroons to change, you have to learn to do politics. If you are not strong enough to challenge ideologies, then ladies and gentlemen, if the kitchen is hot, get out of it. I'm very strong. Maitre Mola Alec Ndive alone, I can stand and challenge the whole Cameroons, me, because I was trained to do that. When I was a young teenager, I used to go to Bekin Ndive's CRTV debate. I used to stand and we debate with my lecturers, Evis Ngole, Professor Angwafo, Emmanuel Pundi, Tata Mensa, Madam Mundi, not the senator, the one who used to be in scholarship board. I used to debate with my professors on CRTV. So it's something that I've learned and I'm comfortable with. Thanks for that diversion. Let's go back to coalition of the ships. Ladies and gentlemen, when people who say they have political party, when Mr. Bia's party call for election, they say let them form coalition. Just know they are failures, all of them. After every election in the Cameroon, they have 7 years to implant their foundation. They don't do that. They think it's a beauty contest. Do these people, do they have a political ideology? I don't think so. I have been in the Cameroons. I have to travel from London to the Cameroons to go and protest and campaign that our streets in Avenue Kennedy, they are dirty. Our streets in Provence, they are dirty. That people are being urinating in our streets. From London, I have to pay transport. But this presidential so-called candidate, I've never seen them doing that. I have to travel from London to Accra in Douala to point at the streets that our streets are dirty, that people pee on our streets. Ladies and gentlemen, in Western democracy, they see, what have you been doing? When they were beating Boya University students, when they were beating a lawyer, I saw a picture on his knees by a Sangalong. When they were beating our teachers, what did you do? I was there in the major national dialogue. The only person who challenged them openly and there was chaos in the national dialogue was Maitre Mola Alex Ndive Lisinge. All of them, they come in the national dialogue. They were begging President Paul Biya, well, President Paul Biya, why can't you give us federalism? I told them off. There was chaos there, pandemonium. They called police because of me. That was the only one person in the major national that I challenged them. That's politics. That's how you do politics. Ladies and gentlemen, if I want to vote for a presidential candidate, I will look at your life. What did this man do when there was GCE board? Did they do anything? Nothing, all the presidential candidates. When we were fighting for multipartyism, were they fighting for it? Nothing, they were not there. They want to be presidential candidate. Ladies and gentlemen, in Western democracy, if you want to be a leader, you have to show them, even as a counselor, you tell them what you do locally. What have you been doing locally? But all these people, they have done nothing. Ladies and gentlemen, if you cannot say that our streets are dirty, let the government of Mr. Biya cleanse it. Do you think it's when you go and be president, that's when you start talking about it? Ladies and gentlemen, coalition of the ships. Do they have an opinion? That's why I want to talk today. Ladies and gentlemen, in politics, when you look at a politician, you know where the politician stands. And again, as a politician, you should be open to criticism. I remember during the first term of President Trump, he said what? Hillary Clinton was a criminal who will go to prison. Hillary Clinton knew that is politics. He called Joe Biden later on Sleeping Joe. But in the Cameroons, when you tell these sheeps, these people who have no political experience, these people who know that Mr. Bia is going to win, when you tell them, they get annoyed. Remove that man from a WhatsApp group. Report this man's YouTube. You people are not fit to be political leaders. I am. Because I don't mind if somebody should criticize my political opinion. Look at all the presidential hopefuls. What do they stand for? I don't think they stand for anything. You cannot go and be asking for coalition when you don't stand for anything. Ladies and gentlemen, democracy was not invented in the Cameroons. When you talk about politics, you look at politicians, you can point. That man is left. That man is right. That person is far left. That person is far right. When you look at Marine Le Pen, you know where he stands for. When you look at Mélenchon, you know where he stands for. When you look at former leader of the Labour Party in London, Jeremy Corbyn, all his life for more than 40 years, you know where they stand for. But what do these people stand for? They don't stand for anything. That's why they want coalition. If you don't stand for anything, you will fall for anything. Ladies and gentlemen, in politics, when you say you're left, it's somebody who wants social progress. Somebody who wants equality. Somebody who wants government intervention. So before you're a candidate, people need to know where you stand. Where do they stand? Nothing. All where they stand for candidates for what? Government contracts. They get their contracts even if they win or lose and make their money. That's what they are doing. When you talk about rights, say you're in of the right in politics, it means what? Individual liberty. It means you're traditional. It means you need limited government intervention. So when you say you should come for coalition, how can you come for coalition if you have an opinion? If you have a political opinion, you cannot come together. You cannot have a coalition. In politics, you have different types of political parties. People call themselves names in the Cameroons. They don't even know what it means. When you say you are a social democrat, it means you stand for what? Parliamentary democracy. It means you stand for parliamentary democracy. So if you stand for parliamentary democracy, somebody stand for presidential democracy, then you say you come for coalition. How can you come for coalition when you don't share the same thing? Ladies and gentlemen, a social democrat stands for economic policy regulated by the state. So if you stand for economic policy that is being, you want it to be regulated by the state, somebody is different. How can you come for coalition? I don't understand this mugu, this mumu. They think they can be fooling the people. If you are a social democrat, you make provision to support the needy, the poor, all those things, to bridge equality. So if you stand for that, somebody stand for something. So how can you come for a coalition? These people, do they need a psychiatrist to check their head? You don't need a coalition. The reason we have political parties is because they have different political opinions. Ladies and gentlemen, it is very important to know all what these people are doing. If I was in the Cameroons, they asked me to stand with them, I would not stand. Ladies and gentlemen, when you look at social democratic values, people who have the same values can come together for coalition. But do they have the same values? Social democratic value about freedom, individual liberty, justice, equality before the law, solidarity, collective governance, and a lot of other things. So if you want to join and come to coalition, somebody doesn't believe in freedom, individual liberty, justice, equality, how can you come together? This coalition of the sheep, they are wasting your time. Mr. Bia, invisible Mr. Bia have already won the election. Because these people, they don't have a clue. Ladies and gentlemen, as a social democrat, when it comes to economy, they want to regulate capitalism. They want mixed economy. They want income redistribution. So when you go and meet somebody who doesn't want to regulate capitalism, who does not believe in mixed economy, who does not want to redistribute their income, how do you come to a coalition with them? Ladies and gentlemen, these people, they have no political ideology. They just come for the beauty context, then they should see them, then they legitimize Mr. Bia. People who have been in the system all their life. Ladies and gentlemen, Maître Mola Alex Ndivelisinger is a nationalist. I have been a nationalist all my life. Imagine somebody with a different political opinion say I should join him when he doesn't believe in the policies of nationalism. Ladies and gentlemen, nationalists believe in the right of self-determination. They believe in the right of a nation to govern itself. They don't believe in outside interference. They want a country that is free from external interference. So, as a nationalist, I want to see the Cameroons being governed by the Cameroonians. That's nationalists. I don't want to see France to bring ENAM to our place. ENS, controlling our monetary policy, setting our interest rate. A nationalist wants us to govern our country. I'm a nationalist. We don't want outside interference. So if you want to create a coalition, how can you create a coalition when most of those candidates, they are supporting France? That's why you see most of them, they went to France to pray for their God, the French President Macron. I'm a nationalist. I don't support those things. If you call for coalition, how can we be? We have democracy. The essence of democracy is that you put your policy to the voter and let the voter decide. The essence of democracy is not to come for coalition when they call for election. Ladies and gentlemen, coalition is a mark of failure. All those presidential hopefuls, they are failures. The only time you call for coalition is when, example, in a parliamentary system, when there's an election, nobody have a majority. So you have to look for other parties in order to form a stable government. That's when you talk for a coalition in a democracy. But if you look, none of these presidential hopefuls have ever won an election. Most of them, they don't have members of parliament. Then they are going for coalition. Who have given you the mandate to be in coalition? Coalition means I'm a political party. We believe in a nationalist movement. We don't want outside intervention. We believe we have to govern ourselves without France and other countries. So that's what we are going for election for. If they vote, we win. Let me say a political party is majority. They'll come and meet us now that, okay, Metro, let's listen, you have some seat. We don't have majority. We want you to come and join us. Then I will negotiate with them now with my policy. Okay, are you going to ask France to stop making our money? Okay, are you going to make France to stop doing our monetary policy interest rate? I negotiate with them. When we negotiate now, I can come into coalition with them. Coalition is always after the election, not before the election. You see, the France are free country. They don't know anything. They are mugu. You do coalition after election. You don't do it before election. Each person have got their political ideology. They stand for election. People vote for them. If people don't have majority in parliament, that's when coalition. It happened in South Africa. You can see it. But these people, they don't have a clue. If you're a liberal democrat, they have political ideology. That's what liberty, democracy, human rights, internationalism, and environmentalists. That's their policy. So, if in case there's an election, somebody hasn't got the majority, we can canvass and look if we have, okay, I stand for liberty, me. I stand for democracy. I stand for human rights. I stand for internationalism. I stand for environment. I can look at my own policy as a nationalist. We talk with liberal Democrat. Then we form a coalition. But in the Cameroons, this coalition of the ships, what they do, they put the cart before the horse. These people don't know politics. They are mugu. Ladies and gentlemen, forget about them. We are going to ban all these presidential candidates, all these presidential hopeful. At the end of October, we'll ban them not to ever get involved in politics in the Cameroons because they are the problem. Mr. Biya pays some of them to come and legitimize them because they get contracts. I know their things, their personal things, they cannot declare it. I've asked them to come and declare all the contracts that they have got from the government. They cannot do it. If they are transparent, they want to fight corruption, why can they not do it? They should do it. They can't do it because all of them, they are in the corruption bubble. So ladies and gentlemen, today I was here to tell you that all these guys, they are in the game. The government always select people to challenge them. Most of them that you see them, they are on the government side. They are not opposition. Most of them, I'm the one telling you, they are CPDM. CPDM challenging CPDM. That's the election. So don't fool yourself. There is no opposition there. It's CPDM challenging CPDM. When you look at the people of the Cameroons, at home and abroad, you have better people who could challenge Mr. Biya. Who go and let a mathematician teacher went to the Cameroons in 1992 or whatever to challenge Mr. Biya. Look at the people who are challenging Mr. Biya. None of them, they cannot ask a question, where is Paul Biya? They don't. Because they are there for themselves and their family. So ladies and gentlemen, we are going to ban all these people because they are novice. They just talk. They come and do nepotism. This man is from my tribe. We start supporting the person. Look at those who have stood as presidential can look at their result. Mr. Biya is having above 70. Some of them are having 3%, 1%, 0.35. My God. Forget about these people. It's a distraction. They are being paid to come and stand as presidential candidate. And if they want to deny it, let them come and face Maitre Morin Alex Ndifeli-Singer in a live debate. And again, for those of you who keep on reporting my YouTube, it makes me to feel I'm doing something right. Once more, ladies and gentlemen, this has been a party political broadcast by myself, Maitre Morin Alex Ndifeli-Singer, the leader of British Cameroon National Party. Ciao.
Un pauvre qui vote ou celui qui l'a rendu pauvre. Si on était bien au pays, est-ce qu'on allait prendre la route de l'étranger?